Welcome to Vietnam. Vietnam is a land that carries a harmonious blend of nature and culture, where each region keeps for itself a story, a rhythm of life, and a unique character that cannot be mistaken for anywhere else. From the northern region with its endless mountain ranges, misty valleys, and villages rich in tradition, to the central region full of sun and wind, where ancient heritage sites stand quietly amid untouched landscapes. Then down to the southern region, generous and free-spirited, where fertile alluvial waters nourish vast fields and a peaceful river culture, all together forming a vibrant mosaic that anyone would want to experience at least once. Beyond its diverse scenery, Vietnam is captivating because of the simple charm of its people. It appears in the friendly smiles along the roads, the everyday stories shared at early morning markets, or the gentle calm one feels while watching a slow-moving river at dusk. Each destination not only offers travel experiences, but also opens a new perspective on culture, history, and the rhythm of a nation that continues to grow while preserving its own identity. And when the journey ends, what lingers most is the warmth and closeness that Vietnam always leaves in the hearts of those who visit. Before exploring beautiful Vietnam, let us answer this interesting question. Which region of Vietnam is famous for its river landscapes and floating markets? Ha Long Bay. Appearing like an enchanting natural painting, Ha Long Bay is a place where thousands of large and small limestone islands rise from emerald waters. A thin layer of morning mist creates a dreamy look, making the scenery resemble a world separated from everyday life. Each island has a different shape, carved by nature over millions of years, creating beauty that is both majestic and delicate. As boats glide gently across the bay, visitors can easily feel the peace spreading through the open space. Caves such as Sung Sot Cave or Thien Kung Cave offer captivating adventures, where shimmering stalactites glow under soft golden light. The combination of water, rock, and light forms a space sculpted as if by the artistic hands of nature itself. Beyond its scenery, Ha Long Bay reveals the everyday life of local floating villages. Small houses resting on rafts and the slow rhythm of life on the water bring simplicity and warmth. Each journey to the bay opens a new perspective, making it an unforgettable destination for anyone who loves nature and tranquility. Day Lat. Carrying a pleasantly cool atmosphere, distinct from the warm lands of the southern region, Dalat gently impresses from the very first moment. Winding roads through pine hills, thin morning mist, and the scent of flowers drifting in the breeze create a peaceful sensation. The city is embraced by lush greenery, forming a uniquely harmonious beauty. Walking through the center, one easily comes across classical European-style buildings such as churches, schools, and old villas hidden beneath tree canopies. Xuan Huang Lake opens a serene space where still waters reflect pine forests and blooming plants along the shore. When sunset falls, soft orange light covers the lake, creating a romantic and tender scene. Further out toward the suburbs, the landscape changes into vast tea hills, expansive flower gardens, and valleys draped in mist. Long Biang Mountain, with its high slopes, provides open views where one can feel the raw beauty of the central highlands. Every corner of Dalat evokes a gentle rhythm, making each journey peaceful and inspiring. Da Nang. Da Nang brings a sense of openness right from the first moments in the city. Coastal roads, long stretches of coconut palms, and the refreshing breeze from the eastern sea create a pleasant atmosphere rarely found elsewhere. Life here is modern but not rushed, offering a balance between urban energy and the calm of a seaside region. Mai Khe Beach is a standout stop. With long stretches of fine white sand and crystal clear water, the perfect place for swimming or strolling during early morning hours. Heading into the city center, Iconic bridges such as Dragon Bridge and Han River Bridge bring a youthful character, especially at night when colorful lights illuminate the water. A little farther away is Sun Tra Peninsula, where untouched forest meets blue ocean, made even more sacred by the large statue of the Goddess of Mercy facing the sea. Every corner of Da Nang carries friendliness and ease, making exploration fulfilling and full of emotion. Mekong Delta. Morning light spills across the silt-colored water, reflecting the slow paddling of small boats heading toward the floating market. Voices calling out across the thin mist sound familiar, like a melody of daily life guiding travelers into a space that feels both rustic and sincere. Coconut groves leaning over the water, fruit gardens tucked behind narrow canals, and low tin roof houses hidden among trees all create a scene rich in the spirit of the river region. In that moment, everything moves like a slow-motion film, where each detail carries the breath of the land and the generosity of the people of the western region. Each quick smile, each colorful basket of fruit, or each fresh coconut drink from a tiny riverside stall brings unexpected closeness to the journey. And within that peacefulness, one easily finds the truest beauty of the Mekong Delta, gentle, open, and full of life. Hanoi. The early morning street vendors' calls weave through deep alleys shaded by layers of trees, blending with the aroma of freshly brewed coffee drifting from small roadside shops, creating an atmosphere both familiar and quiet, evoking a rhythm of life that has existed here for many generations. The steady flow of vehicles along old streets, mixed with the voices of market-goers and the hurried footsteps of students, blends into a unique urban symphony that only by stepping into Hanoi can one fully feel. Along tree-lined roads where ancient canopies cast shadows over calm lakes, the wind carries the scent of time, brushing against moss-covered roofs and making memories of soft, fading afternoons suddenly clearer. Within the small neighborhoods, from breakfast stalls pressed against old brick walls to faded bicycles leaning quietly by verandas, everything carries traces of years gone by, yet harmonizes naturally with the movement of a modern city. And within that subtle intersection of old and new, One easily realizes that Hanoi never tries to impress through noise. Instead, the city captivates with a gentle depth, with an ancient breath intertwined with youthful energy, leaving anyone who pauses here with a tender, indescribable memory. Hoi An. When the first lanterns are lit along the old wooden roofs, the entire space becomes filled with a warm golden glow that slows each step and allows the mind to drift into a peace rarely found in bustling modern places. People move gently along narrow streets where the faint scent of incense mingles with the aroma of freshly baked pastries, creating a feeling both familiar and dreamlike, as if entering another moment in time where everything softens and every sound becomes more delicate. Along the riverbank, the water reflects shimmering colors from hundreds of lanterns, making the small boats carrying candles drift slowly like fragments of memory floating away into the distance. Amid the harmony of ancient architecture, gentle light, drifting scents, and an unhurried rhythm of life, travelers often forget the rush of reality and simply want to linger to absorb each passing moment. And it is precisely there, within that unassuming tranquility, that the beauty of Hoi An emerges fully like an old love song, soft and unforgettable. Hue. The sound of temple bells echoing softly through the early morning feels like a thin layer of mist covering the space, quieting the mind as footsteps enter walkways shaded by towering ancient trees. That stillness seems to carry travelers back in time, to days when palace walls echoed with court music and glazed tiles reflected gentle sunlight. Every brick, every carved wooden door holds stories of past dynasties, turning each step within the Imperial City into a journey stretching through memory. Amid this solemn yet poetic atmosphere, one realizes that the profound beauty of Hue has never come from grand display, but from the way it preserves what is old while keeping its spirit alive. Along the perfume river flowing softly like a silk ribbon, the water reflects soft purple twilight, bringing a delicate calmness that makes the entire city seem to breathe in its own way, slow, discreet, and profound. Hilltop pagodas, royal tombs hidden among pine forests, and the gentle fragrance of incense drifting in the breeze all contribute to a character unmatched anywhere else. And when one departs, a lingering echo of hue remains, like a low musical note that stays after the song has ended. If you enjoyed this content, do not forget to press like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you will not miss upcoming journeys. Phu Quoc Island. Soft morning sunlight settles over the sea like a thin layer of clear gold, shifting the water's color from jade green to deep blue with each gentle wave, as if the sky itself were blending into the endless ocean. The scent of the sea, mixed with hints of forest drifting from the gentle hills, slows every step, as though nature purposely invites travelers to stay a little longer to fully feel the openness of this tropical paradise. Tall coconut trees leaning over white sand, narrow paths winding through peaceful fishing villages, and quiet docks resting under the sun create a relaxed rhythm found in very few places, especially when one encounters the signature clarity of Phu Quoc Island. As sunset descends, shades of orange and red stretch from the water's surface to the distant rocks, softening every sound from waves to the hum of distant boat engines. Flickering lights from beachside seafood stalls mix with the aroma of grilled dishes, filling the air with warmth and invitation. In that moment, the island reveals a beauty both elegant and natural, like a tropical film unfolding slowly before the eyes, leaving a gentle yet unforgettable impression of Phu Quoc Island, a place where sea, sky, and people always blend seamlessly. Mu Kang Chai. Amid layered mountain ranges stretching toward the horizon, early sunlight falls across terraced rice fields, forming bands of light that curve along the hillsides and making the highlands appear vast and majestic, like a landscape carved slowly by time. Each tier of rice fields wraps around the mountains, reflecting shades of gold or green depending on the season, creating the feeling that earth and sky are conversing in their own private language, a language that only those standing within this immense space can hear. In the breath of mountain winds, footsteps fade into the scent of fresh rice, and the wooden houses scattered along the slopes make the scenery powerful yet poetic, allowing the grandeur of Mu Chang Chai to emerge not through noise but through the deep silence of the mountains. As evening falls, thin mist rises from the valleys and envelops the narrow paths winding through villages, making the scene as soft as the breath of nature closing a long day. flickering firelight behind wooden windows, the sound of villagers talking, and the gentle echo of the mountains create a feeling of connection that is difficult to describe, as if this land were both magnificent and strangely intimate. Mui Ne. Winds from the sea sweep across vast sand slopes, carrying gentle heat that merges the landscape into the slow rhythm of a long, sunny day, where the sky shifts from pale blue to deep blue as the hours pass. Feet sink into fine sand, giving the feeling of walking through a desert beside the sea, where every sound softens under the tender warmth of the sun. The curves of the dunes change continuously with each gust of wind, creating subtle patterns of light and shadow as if nature were quietly redrawing itself moment by moment. In this stillness, the beauty of Mui Ne appears understated yet meditative, light but profound. Nearer the sea, salt-tinged mist blends with the wind, bringing balance and coolness, while rows of curved coconut trees along the shore evoke the familiar essence of a tropical coastline. When sunset descends, orange hues stretch across the horizon, blending sea and sand into a seamless ribbon of color. Ninh Binh. Limestone mountains rising from the plains resemble ancient walls carved by the hand of time, creating a sense of both grandeur and mystery, as though the traveler were stepping into an unfinished page of history. Water winding around the mountain bases reflects the sky's shifting colors, sometimes deep blue, sometimes silver, sometimes hazy, like a veil of mist, giving the landscape a fairy tale quality where nature and legend merge effortlessly. Rice fields stretching to the base of the cliffs, boats gliding quietly along still waterways, and the echo of wind through deep caves all form a contemplative rhythm that seems to pause time, revealing Ninh Binh beauty not only through its scenery but through its cultural depth tied to this former imperial land. Entering areas such as Trang An or Tam Kak, the reflections of mountains on the water reveal natural corridors unfolding endlessly, where even the smallest beam of light passing through rocky crevices makes the space shimmer as if entering a sacred realm passed down through generations. And when sunset settles behind the mountains, pale gold light falls over the rice fields and gentle river, creating a moment both peaceful and sacred, a moment that makes anyone pause as though the land itself were telling its own story. a story Ninh Binh preserves through powerful stillness. Ho Chi Minh City. The city's movement begins very early, with the dense hum of vehicles, neon lights reflecting on roads still damp with morning moisture, and streams of people flowing as if never stopping, creating a surge of energy that immediately sweeps newcomers into its rhythm. Towering buildings rise into the tropical sky. 24-hour coffee shops welcome visitors without pause, and small corners of the old markets still preserve traditional rhythms, giving this urban landscape its layered identity, modern yet unmistakably rooted in its own character. Within this blend, the spirit of Ho Chi Minh City appears vividly, not through glamorous display, but through a determined, youthful, and energetic pulse. When night falls, the city transforms under dazzling lights from skyscrapers and a river surface sparkling as though sprinkled with glitter, making the entire space feel like it is moving to an unspoken electronic melody full of allure. Street stalls continue to operate. Laughter blends with the sound of traffic, creating a unique soundtrack that belongs only to this place. It is in this moment that travelers understand Ho Chi Minh City never sleeps, and this constant awakening is what makes the city vibrant, powerful, and impossible to mistake for any other place on the map. Sapa Rice Terraces. Morning mist rising from the valleys forms thin layers drifting across the mountainsides, covering the hills in a soft white veil that slows each step as one follows the gentle curves of the terraced fields winding around the slopes. Early sunlight filters through patches of clouds, touching the shimmering water on the fields and shifting the greens and golds with subtle transitions, like a color palette changing by the minute. In that moment, every sound softens. Only the rustle of leaves in the wind and the faint footsteps of local villagers drift through the mist, making the beauty of Sapa Rice Terraces appear not only as a natural landscape, but as a living painting gradually revealing its layers. As the sun climbs higher, the mist slowly fades, revealing terraces shaped like soft lines written across the mountains, each step tied to harvests, labor, and the resilient rhythm of life in the Highlands. The sky deepens in color. The wind carries the scent of rice, and small wooden houses tucked within the valleys add a profound stillness to the scenery. It is a moment when the traveler feels surrounded by a world woven from mist, light, and earth, a beauty that arrives not with intensity, but with quiet depth. The true essence of Sapa rice terraces, gentle, spacious, and deeply evocative. Hoi Bang. Layered mountains unfold into a vast frontier landscape where dark green stone cliffs rise beside rivers, and valleys stretch like flowing robes of the forest draped against the sky. Thin morning mist slips down from the high peaks, blending with the turquoise waters of border rivers, creating a raw, powerful beauty. Winding mountain passes curve around rock walls, occasionally opening into sudden clearings where waterfalls cascade in white torrents against endless green, a sight both overwhelming and irresistible, urging the traveler deeper into this wilderness. In the contrast between towering rock, soft water, and early light, the beauty of Hoi Bang appears like a story of the great mountains, bold, sharp, and full of untamed breath. By midday, Banjiak Waterfall roars between cliffs, sending sprays of light across the air, while distant valleys stretch in gentle green from cornfields and rice paddies, forming an unexpectedly balanced harmony between force and peace. By late afternoon, sunlight slants across the border ranges, casting a muted golden sheen on the Kisan River, slowing time itself. Sun Tra Peninsula. A layer of sea breeze carrying a salty scent sweeps through dense treetops, blending with rustling leaves to create a steady, low sound like the forest's breath beside the ocean. The road along the mountainside opens gradually into wide viewpoints where the deep blue sea stretches to the horizon and sunbeams pass through the canopy, illuminating ferns swaying lightly in the wind. Deeper into the forest, the distant noise of the city fades, replaced by birdsong and the vibrant stillness of a carefully protected ecosystem. In this meeting place of forest and sea, the beauty of Sun Tra Peninsula appears both wild and pure, a natural oasis embracing the city, yet preserving a rare, untouched essence. Mang Thit Village. The deep red of ancient brick kilns combined with the earthy scent of fired clay fills the air, allowing travelers to feel immediately the unhurried rhythm of a craft village that has existed for hundreds of years. Amid an interlacing network of canals, boats loaded with bricks and clay jars drift slowly as if replaying a labor tradition passed down through generations. Dome-shaped kilns rise across the fields, blending with the brown tones of earth and the golden light of the sun, forming a landscape both rustic and distinctive, as though this land has long been accustomed to the warmth of fire and the damp aroma of soil. Within this setting, the beauty of Mang Thit village emerges through its authentic craftsmanship, the persistence of human hands, and the simplicity of a trade that has never hurried. By late afternoon, when sunlight falls across the rows of kilns, the red of the fired clay deepens, reflecting on the quiet waterways running through narrow lanes. My Sun Sanctuary. Morning mist drapes over the ancient ruins like a thin veil hiding the traces of time, giving each block of stone a mysterious aura, as if retelling the ancient rituals once performed beneath the quiet shadows of mountains and forest. Birds call from the hillsides, and the scent of damp earth after a long night deepens the atmosphere, turning every step into an encounter with layers of memory buried for thousands of years. When the first rays of sunlight filter through the gaps of collapsed walls, the deep red bricks slowly reveal themselves, highlighting the enduring craftsmanship that has defied centuries. In that moment when light touches ruin, the solemn presence of my Sun Sanctuary emerges with a power that is not loud, yet carries an inexplicable pull. Deeper inside the sanctuary, the remaining Cham towers stand slightly leaning among the forest, covered in green moss as if protected by nature through countless seasons. The silence here is not emptiness, but feels like the settling of old prayers still echoing faintly between cracked walls. Vinh Hai Bay. Morning sunlight spreads a thin silver sheen across the sea, revealing water so clear that even hidden coral formations beneath the surface become visible, as if the entire space had been washed clean of everyday noise. Curving limestone ridges embrace the bay, forming a natural arc both strong and gentle, where sea breeze carries soft saltiness and a refreshing coolness that makes one instinctively breathe deeper. From above, small waves striking the rocks create bright circular ripples, reflecting a sky polished smooth like glass. In this harmony of elements, the beauty of Vinh Bay emerges pure and refined, unadorned yet breathtaking in its absolute clarity. Ha Giang. The road clings to steep gray cliffs, twisting along the high mountain curves, making the landscape suddenly open wide at every bend where deep green valleys rest below and white clouds drift at eye level. Winds sweeping down from the peaks dry the lingering mist, carrying the distinct scent of mountain stone and urging the traveler forward through a terrain both grand and demanding. Small homes scattered along slopes, barren rocky fields still cultivated with persistence, and narrow trails leading to distant villages form a landscape both harsh and full of vitality. The beauty of Ha Giang reveals itself not through softness, but through the fierce heartbeat of a land constantly conversing with nature. Approaching the Dong Van Karst Plateau, afternoon light casts sharp contrasts of shadow and brightness across the cliffs, revealing deep fractures etched over millions of years. Further ahead, mountain passes cut boldly across stone ridges, slicing into the pale sky like daring strokes of nature, where every meter of road feels like the journey expanding with each breath. Standing at Lung Ku flagpole overlooking the deep valley below, the entire landscape unfolds like a grand stone epic, immense and powerful enough to make one feel both small and awakened by the height of the mountains. And even upon leaving, the echo of Ha Giang lingers rugged, untamed, yet full of freedom, like a call to return one day. Con Dao Islands. A layer of salty air rushes in as the first waves crash against the dark cliffs, making the entire landscape feel both fierce and mesmerizing, like a land that still holds the raw heartbeat of nature. Sheer rock walls, long untouched beaches, and stretches of primordial forest reaching all the way to the water create a sense of stepping into a separate world where time slows enough for one to hear the wind sweeping through each treetop. In that stillness, travelers feel a different kind of beauty, not the softness common in many resort beaches, but a wildness carrying a hint of mystery, as if whispering stories that have rested for generations. And within that atmosphere, The beauty of Condau Islands emerges with weight, both majestic and silent, like a land that chooses to exist with pride rather than display. When evening comes, the last light falls across the open sea, tinting the entire ocean in deep, muted tones, leaving behind an unforgettable impression of a place where nature remains the absolute ruler. Turtle nesting beaches, quiet green forests, and coastlines curved around rugged mountains form an ecosystem that has preserved its wild essence. And so, upon leaving, one feels as though they have touched a land with a soul, where every sound echoes slowly and deeply the true essence of Condau Island's beautiful, fierce, and profound to the core. Phong Nha Bang. Light from the cave entrance falls just enough to reveal shimmering stalactite formations within the darkness, turning the entire space into a mysterious underground kingdom that has slept for millions of years. The sound of dripping water echoing off high stone arches forms a deep, steady rhythm that feels like the breath of the mountains, as though nature were telling its story in a language understood only by those who truly listen. As the small boat glides into the underground river, layers of darkness open gradually to reveal massive chambers winding through sheer rock walls, giving travelers a sensation of being both small and exhilarated as they witness geological structures shaped over stretches of time that seem infinite. In this almost surreal beauty, the awe of Phong Nha Bang rises powerfully without needing a single loud sound or dramatic movement. The deeper one goes, the more the emerald water becomes still enough to reflect every unusual limestone contour on the cave ceiling, and each patch of light slipping through high stone arches reveals a scene reminiscent of an adventure film set in a primordial world. Emerging back into daylight, the brightness outside seems even more vivid, contrasting sharply with the deep darkness within, creating the sensation of having crossed between two distinct worlds. Mai Chau Valley. Morning in the low mountains begins with the scent of fresh rice and the calls of birds from bamboo groves lining the paths, blending the entire valley into the calm rhythm its people have preserved season after season. Small roads curve alongside still rice fields, where early mist rests on the ground like a thin, shimmering layer, making the traveler's steps feel lighter as they pass villages with stilt houses barely visible behind the trees. wisps of kitchen smoke rising from wooden homes, the cheerful conversations in front yards, and the sight of women weaving fabric with practiced hands bring to life the serene countryside charm of Mai Chau Valley, a timeless harmony rarely found untouched elsewhere. By afternoon, golden sunlight spreads evenly across the fields, turning the valley into a soft mirror reflecting the slow movements of local life. Children run along dirt paths, water buffalo wander home, and the gentle notes of a traditional lute echo from a porch, making time feel suspended. This simplicity is not plainness, but a deep stillness that sinks into one's breath, a peace found only in Mai Chau Valley. Light as a field breeze, yet rich as the scent of earth after rainfall. If you enjoyed this content, do not forget to press like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you will not miss upcoming journeys. This journey has carried us through some of the most beautiful regions of Vietnam, where every landscape and every person tells an inspiring story of its own. Thank you for staying from beginning to end, and for taking the time to experience each breath of Vietnam's nature and culture with me. If you enjoyed this content, do not forget to press like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you will not miss upcoming journeys. See you again in the next videos, where we will continue discovering new wonders, new stories, and many more mesmerizing destinations throughout Vietnam and the world.